Hi there, it's Liz Yuille from Old Stables Crafts. Thank you for joining me again today. Today is another Top Tip Tuesday, and I'm also showing you the lovely, in the new catalogue, Shimmer Laser Cut Designer Series paper. Specialty Designer Series paper, because let's face it, it's gorgeous. You get 6 sheets. 3 of each of 2 designs. I'm just trying to find it in the catalogue because, as ever, why would I prepare? Okay, so let's see where it is. Right, it comes under Paper Basics. How you can call this basic, I do not know. However, it's at the bottom of page 169, and you can just about see the 2 designs. They are white on one side and vanilla on the other. But that really is not doing them justice, I think is the word I'm looking for. So I've got this on Mossy Meadow so that you can sort of see it. Can you see the shimmer? Is the light picking it up? I'm hoping maybe you can see the shimmer. It's, in real life, it is stunning. So that's the vanilla side. And let me just flip it over, and this is the white side. Now the white side is flat, as in not shimmery, and the vanilla side is the shimmer side. So this is one of the designs. Let me just get rid of this very gently. Should have thought about that before I got it out, because now I've got a piece of very, 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 very delicate 12 by 12 laser cut paper that I'm now balancing somewhere. This is the other piece of laser cut paper, and there's a couple of bits there that haven't actually released, but they will come out really easily. Just be gentle. It is laser cut, so they do come out easily if there are any bits that haven't come out properly, or fully I should say. But look at that, isn't that just stunning? And it's instant card fronts. But today I thought I would show you how to cut it, because there is a kind of an order in which to do it. It's not that complicated, it's fairly logical. The first thing I'm going to do is replace my trimmer blade, because the one thing you definitely want is a sharp trimmer blade. And I know this one I've been prepping for a class at our team event, which by now you will have already happened, but I'm going to give this a bit of a general going over. This isn't what today's video is about, but when you're changing your blade over, and anyway, if you start getting kind of bits of fluff in your track, just get a piece of scrap card and push it up that track, and you'll get a pile of crud, basically. So I tend to do that a couple of times just to make sure that it's got all the fluff out. I stupidly cut some matte photo paper which has a finish on it, and it was a truly bad idea because it completely killed my blade. It felt like a good idea at the time, but it was like using a new blade on glimmer paper. Not something you really want to do. So, okay, let's replace the blade. They come with a little plastic cover just to protect you and the blade, and they just clip in at the bottom, and then just make sure that it's running up and down well. And it's as simple as that. And I always keep my old blades, of which I have rather a lot, just so that I've got something to cut glimmer paper with mostly. And then I keep a new one in the back, just so that I know I've got a spare just in case. I know trimmer blades are a bit like hen's teeth at the moment, but hopefully we'll be getting a few more back in the near future. So, having made sure you have a sharp trimmer, which I'm just going to give that a bit of bit of a wipe. Get your paper and you want to line it up so that there's these border strips and then there are some squares. You want the squares to be to the right of your trimmer blade, and you want this piece in the middle of your cutting area. Don't push anything too hard because it's not a rigid piece of paper. This is one of the occasions where I will say start in the middle of your paper, because you want to trim out, and it's much easier to do that if you start in the middle. Then turn and line up your border pieces again, but this time have them right on the edge of your cutting area and just pull down, because that is a border. It's a strip. It's meant to be on its own, and then you can just snip that, and then this piece you can use as a border. Then you've got these little squares that you can cut into single squares. We'll come back to those in a moment. So the next cut you want is in this middle piece here. In fact, it might be better if we put the more solid piece, or the wider piece, to the left, and then line up, what can you see? Line up this, the middle of this, to the middle of your track, and again you want to very gently just cut that so that you've now got those pieces. And then these are, let's measure how long those are so that we can make sure we cut them the right size. Now I have got a tiny weeny little pip as a result of my cutting, so I'm just going to grab my snips and trim that down so that's not being taken into account, just there. And then this is 10.5 inches, thereabouts. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut this one, because I'm going to do this by eye. We've got a nice surround here, so whoops, minding my piece on my right, I'm just going to line up the edge of the card with the edge of my track here. So here's my track, this is my track, and I'm lining up the inside of the pattern to that track, and that will give me as near as the same border all the way round. So that's one of my cards. Then I can do the same with my daffodils, dandelions, except this time I'm lining up this with this side of the track and cut. And then I've got this piece and this piece, and they are all basically the same size. Now, I would highly recommend cutting these all in one go, because they're much easier to store small than they are large. Right, so this one we want to trim down so that this piece has the same border all round, and by doing that we're also going to end up with this piece having the correct border all the way round. And again, we're going to use our track as a guide, trying not to go crooked in the process. There is that tiny piece which you can keep and use for something else. It's a perfectly nice piece of shimmer. Then again, we want to have the same border all the way round, so again I'm going to use the track as my measurement. Much easier than trying to line up and actually measure something. And then we've got this piece, which if I bring my mossy meadow back in, you can see. So we've got this lovely piece. We already have our dandelion, and intertwined circles, so sort of trellis and an oval. So those are all ready to go, and as I say, if you store them all together, you've kind of then got them. Now this piece, from a UK point of view, let's get some cardstock in and see where we're looking from a dimension point of view. So they are slightly short of standard UK sizing, which is fine. I would put the wide bit at the bottom. This one I think is going to be short and fat, which it is. So I'm going to have to trim that down or get a circle somehow. I think I'll be trimming it down, but I'll think about that one. And then the same probably applies to this one. So I think for these two I will be cutting non-UK standard size cards, because they are more aimed at the North American letter size card, and you do probably want to keep tissue between them, but they are much easier to store cut than they are as a piece. Trust me on that one. Right, so this one, I'm at this stage just going to release them because I can then cut them down to the size I want them. And these are 3 inches each. So 1, because they're square. Ooh. Just make sure that when you trim them down, they are looking as if they are still square. 2. This one I love. Absolutely adore this. And 3. And then we've got our last piece here. So there we are. That is how to trim down your laser cut paper. So I hope you found that useful. And as you see, this is much easier to store than the delicate little lacy thing that we had. Now, the 12 by 12, my suggestion for that, and I'm just going to lay it onto the mossy meadow again, my suggestion for this, either use it for a scrapbook page, or find an area you want and just snip it out. You could, but I think it would be a waste, you could use it for a mask, but I think personally I'm going to be snipping bits out, or using it for a scrapbook page. And in fact, at the time when I'm filming this, I'm filming a way ahead on this particular one. I may already have used it for a scrapbook page. I haven't quite decided, but yeah, might have done. Anyway, thank you very much indeed for watching. I hope you found that helpful. I will try and work out how on earth I'm going to photograph any of this, and I will see you again soon. If you enjoyed that, found it helpful, please give it a thumbs up, and also consider subscribing. Subscribing really does help my visibility, that's the word I'm looking for, on YouTube, so that would be fantastic. You can also subscribe to my blog posts over on my website, and of course my newsletter, which there's also a subscription form for that over on my website, so do have a look at that. If you would like to purchase the laser cut paper, or indeed anything else that I've shown you today, or anything else indeed from the annual catalogue, you can do that by following the link below. I'll have some information about how to cut this on my blog, which is linked below. You'll see there's a link to an associated blog post. Click on that and that will take you over there, and I'll explain in words as much as I can how to cut this in words. How to cut this so that you get the best out of it and don't lose any bits. Thank you very much indeed for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye!